Hey guys, my name's Tom from Fish Feed TV, and today I'm just going to be going over the tackle that I own. It's literally all sitting right in front of you, all the baits I own currently, most of them actually, and so why don't we just get right into it. Alright, so why don't we get started with hard baits. Here I have my spinnerbait box, and this is how I store them whenever I'm not using them. Here I have two black spinnerbaits, good for night fishing in the summer. A lot of those, and then as well as some white buzzbaits. This is a Bass Pro Shops buzzbait that I use a lot, and what I do to all my buzzbaits is drill a hole right in there. It just makes bubbles and makes it look a lot better, in my opinion. And you know, I got two Booyah buzzbaits. I like that color, the white color. So yeah, that's my spinnerbait. So I'm just gonna unclutter everything. Okay, so next I have my shallow diving crankbaits, jerkbaits, floating jerkbaits, and shad wraps. So why don't we get into that? There you go. That's all of my square bills and that kind of stuff. I have bigger square bills here, like the Strike King square bill, as well as a big river to sea Ish Monroe bait. I've also got a selection of balsa and little smaller crankbaits in here, as well as shad wraps and flicker shads and that kind of stuff. Here's some of my jerk baits. They're all kind of hooked up, but here. That's the Strike King jerkbait, and then this one I found. It's a floating jerkbait and a bomber jerkbait, as well as some of the old balsa floating jerkbaits, which I like to use as well. Alright, so next let's get into Topwaters and miscellaneous. This is basically all the hard baits that are floating, and as well as some tubes and frogs and rattle traps, spoons, that kind of stuff. Everything that doesn't really have a home anywhere else. So there you go. That is what this box looks like. So, you know, I've got a good selection of, let's get the spook out of here real quick. I've got a good selection of poppers in here. Oof, lots and lots and lots of poppers. As well as a wake bait. Right here, very small one. Good for the fall. Very good for the fall. So, yeah, I've got that. Ooh. This thing is getting on my nerves. Okay. As well as spooks over here. I also have a couple of tubes in here. Very, very small tubes. Very rarely use them, but I always like having them. Good old whopper plopper. That's a very good bait. I suggest you look at my review on that. As well as I have some rattle traps and a spoon, and I use all of these when the time is right. Alright, so next I have a ton of jigs. I love jigs, guys. So, you know, I've got my selection of half-ounce. This is a Z-Man jig, but I've got a whole bunch of half-ounce jigs that I use from time to time. Especially when I'm fishing deeper water or using bigger trailers. Got some light mop jigs. Always have to have the Archy head jigs. Those are very, very special to me. As well as a couple of finesse jigs. So yeah, I always like fishing with jigs. So I like having a big selection to fish with. Right, here comes my one and only box for terminal tackle. I like keeping it all together, so it all comes in here. I have here a whole bunch of shaky head stuff. I only use the spot removers. They're a little bit more expensive, but that's okay. It's worth it, especially when you're fishing finesse like that. Got a bunch of drop shot weights, tiny little hooks for Texas rigs, spider heads, tube heads, not that I ever really fish with tubes all too much, swim baits, underspin, more swim bait heads, you know, just about everything that I need as far as hooks go. Next I have here my deep diving crankbait box. This is a big box, but and it's not all too filled up because I used to put my whatchamacallums in there, the shallow diving crankbaits, but I took those out recently. So let's start with my favorite ones. These are the DD22s. These are my favorite deep diving crankbaits. They only go like 17 feet, but they just have such a nice color to them, and they're a lot of fun to catch fish on. I've caught several fish on them, so can't complain about those. Here I have the Hot Lips Express. It dives. If you look at that tongue there, it'll dive like 30 feet or something like that. Got the Man's Deep 20 Plus, some Castaic lures on there, and a good selection of balsa baits, which I generally use for trolling and as well as a little bit of just normal bass fishing. I really like these, and I fish with this box a lot, and I'm wanting to upgrade as far as that goes. So, now there's still a lot of stuff on here, and I'm going to go through this very fast because I know that I have way too many soft plastics. So I'm just going to start with the creature baits right here. Lots of missile baits, as you guys can see. But you know, in here I have the Z-Man. They're called bat wings, and those are really good trailers, especially when you're doing a lot of skipping. A whole bunch of chunks. The baby D bombs from missile baits, and what I want to try out, which I'm going to try out in the slam here, are these power bait, the chigger chunks. Those are they're giant baits, and I don't know, I feel like that's a big bait, but I feel like putting that on the back of the jig right now would be a really good deal. I don't know, because it weighs like a ½ ounce in itself. I got vial crawls in here, all that kind of stuff. Whole bunch of creature baits. In here I have like brush hogs and grubs and that kind of stuff. So, you know, chartreuse, Jack's custom baits. I got these at a tournament. The twin turbos from missile baits, as well as a whole bunch of brush hogs. I put my tubes in there because I rarely use them, that kind of stuff. So, yeah. Next, I have this giant heavy box, and it is just packed full of worms. I have here trick worms, Senkos, I got too much stuff in here, drop shot worms, all that kind of stuff. All the straight tail and curly tails go in here. Up until this point, it is all straight tail worms, and back here it's all curly tail worms, which I tend to use more in the spring and that kind of stuff. So yeah, I really enjoy fishing with this. This is just, you know, I don't even want to get into it because stuff, but you know, here the big old purple worms. These are very old. I use them for something. Okay. So next I have this box, which I don't use all too much, but it's a whole bunch of swim baits in here. There you go, Lunker City. I don't know which ones those are, but these are flukes in here. More flukes and flukes, and swim baits, and just a whole. The Damiki anchovy shads. Haven't used those in a really long time, but that is what is in this box. I don't really use this one all too much anymore, just because it's, I don't know, the fish, they tend to like other baits. Well, that's it, guys. I'm going to be making a rod arsenal video pretty soon. I'm going to put the link right up here. So I hope to see you guys in the next video. I appreciate your comments, and subscribing is even better. Like this video if you liked it, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.